Greetings, our dear candidates. Welcome back to our next lesson. I'm your teacher, Mr. Baino, Mr. Silva, who is going to take you through another lesson today. Before I start, I remember the other time we were talking about formation of African Union. We discussed this formation. We talked about the reasons why it was formed. And now we are going to look at another thing, which is organs of African Union. So as I told you, and I left you with an activity which we have to go through. Get your book, get your pencil, which is well sharpened, and be honest here. Mark what is correct, and what is wrong, mark it wrong. So that activity, let us go through it. Number one was, in which country are the headquarters of African Union? In here, I want a country, but not the city. So the answer is Ethiopia. If you wrote Addis Ababa, you are wrong. That is a city, but not a country. So you must always look at keywords. In this question, we have a country, but not a city. Then our number two was, who was the first chairperson of African Union? This is the man from South Africa, who is Thabo Mbeki. That was the second president of South Africa. Then number three, give one reason why African Union was formed. There are many reasons as to why, but here I have to promote human rights, to promote trade, to promote unity in Africa, plus other more answers. As I gave you those objectives, you can get more answers from there. Then number four, name the president of Libya who proposed the formation of African Union. That is Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. Of course, the late, he died. Then lastly, in which year was African Union officially launched? That is in 2002. So that's the activity I left you with, and I told you, be honest, mark what is right, and what is wrong, you mark it wrong. Therefore, today, we are going to talk about organs of African Union. These organs can be called agencies, which are assigned different duties to play on behalf of the bigger organization, which is African Union. So this list here shows organs of African Union. Every organ here has got its role, or its roles it plays on behalf of African Union. So let us read through and we get the names of these organs. So our number one is the Assembly of the Union. Two, the Executive Council, the PanAfrican Parliament, the African Union Commission, the Peace and Security Council. Then we have the Permanent Representatives Committee, then the Financial Institution, the Economic, Social and Cultural Council. Second last, African Court on Human and People's Rights, or call it African Court of Justice, which is there in brackets, which is Court of Justice. Then lastly, African Union Commission on International Law. So those are organs of African Union we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about each of these organs and the roles it plays on behalf of African Union. So, candidates, we are beginning with the Assembly of the Union. Make sure you are attentive and you are listening very well, because you must understand each and everything you are going to talk about. So, here it is, the Assembly of the Union. This one is made up of the heads of state. Heads of state here, I mean the presidents of the member states. What do I mean? Our own president, Yoweri Museveni, attends, or is a member of the Assembly of the Union. So it is a supreme organ of African Union. It is the topmost organ under African Union. It is headed by a chairperson for a period of 1 year. And who is that chairperson? A country which hosts the meeting of the Assembly of the Union, the president of that country becomes the chairperson. And they meet once in a year. So what are the roles of those people, of this organ we call Assembly of the Union? Here they are. One, to consider requests for membership. If there's any country which wants to become a member, so this is the organ that allows the country to become a member. Two, it monitors implementation of policies and decisions. Three, it appoints and terminates judges of the Court of Justice. As you know, I told you that there is the Court of Justice, or call it African Court of Justice. Therefore, judges on that court are appointed by the Assembly of the Union and also terminated by the Assembly of the Union. What do I mean by terminating somebody's services? That is stopping somebody from working in the office he has been holding. That is, in other words, chasing, call it firing. So that is the work of the assembly. Then it appoints the chairperson of the commission and deputy. We shall talk about the commission of the union and its duties. So the deputy and the chairperson of that commission is also appointed by the assembly of the union. Don't forget, I told you, the assembly of the union is made up of presidents, or call them heads of state. Then lastly, its current chairperson is the man from Egypt, the president of Egypt, who is called Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Therefore, is the one in the office, holding that office of the assembly of the union. So that's all with the assembly of the union. So let us look at our next organ, which is the Executive Council. What is it all about? What is its role? Here it is. It comprises of all ministers of foreign affairs. It comprises of all ministers of foreign affairs. What do I mean? Every country has got a minister who is in charge of affairs of other countries. For example, in Uganda, we have our own Minister of Foreign Affairs, and I told you one time he's called Honorable Sam Kutesa. So he's a member here. He's a member of Executive Council. So what do they do? Or what does this body do? It forwards issues for discussion in the Assembly of the Union. So if they meet twice a year and highlight different issues to be discussed, issues concerning Africa, then they forward them to the Assembly of the Union for discussion. So that is all about Executive Council. Then our next organ is the Pan-African Parliament. As you know, this is a parliament for making laws. It is a law-making body for African Union. In Uganda, we have our own, which play the same roles, which is the legislature, headed by the Speaker of Parliament. Then in East Africa, we have our own also, East African Community. We have our body there, which is East African Legislative Assembly, playing the same roles like the Pan-African Parliament. So let us talk about the Pan-African Parliament. So it is made up of 4 members of parliament from each member state. Every country which is a member of African Union sends 4 members to be part of the Pan-African Parliament. So here, what do they do, those people? Or what are the roles of the Pan-African Parliament? Well, listed there. 1, it ensures proper use of resources. Resources here I mean like funds. It makes sure those resources or those funds are well used in Africa. Then 2, to advise other organs of OAU. So it takes part in giving advice to other organs. Then lastly, it discusses challenges facing Africa. Of course, Africa has got many challenges. Civil wars, dictatorship, famine, poverty, and other more. So it discusses those challenges and finds the way forward for them. So that is the Pan-African Parliament, which I've told you is a law-making body. It makes laws for African countries. Yes, candidates, here is our next organ. Remember our list. We must talk about everybody there. So we have the African Union Commission. Here, listen attentively here. This is the body that replaced Organization of African Unity Secretariat. Remember, when this African Union, before its existence, we had Organization of African Unity, which had its body as OAU Secretariat. But in here, after transforming it in 2002, it was replaced, this body secretariat was replaced with African Union Commission. Therefore, African Union does not have secretariat. It has African Union Commission. What is it all about? It is headed by the chairperson. Sometimes we call him the president. Not Secretary General, but the president. And who is the current chairperson of African Union Commission? Is the man from Chad, who is called Moussa Faki. So that is the current chairperson, calling the president of African Union Commission. So expect questions about this body here. Like, which body replaced OA Secretariat? That one becomes African Union Commission. What does it do? What are the duties of this body? One, to run the day-to-day affairs of African Union. It does daily activities of African Union. Two, it makes budget for the Union. As you know budget. That's P5 work. Estimation of income and expenditure for a given period of time. It plans on how to spend, in other words, how to spend the resources, the funds of African Union. Then lastly, it prepares the agenda of the Assembly of the Union. Remember that time I told you the meaning of that agenda? The list of items to be discussed in a meeting. So it prepares this agenda for the other heads of state. The other supreme organ we call the Assembly of the Union. So those are the roles of African Union Commission. But don't forget that it's normally asked as which body of African Union replaced OAU Secretariat. The answer becomes African Union Commission. Yes, we have our next body, which is the Peace and Security Council. As you have seen, peace and security, it is all about promoting peace and security in our continent, Africa. So it is responsible for promoting peace and security in Africa, preventing conflicts in Africa, managing disasters in Africa. What do we mean by disasters? What are the examples? Like floods, like civil wars, and other things. So that is all about Peace and Security Council. But we are talking about promoting peace and security in Africa. How does it do it? How does it make sure there is peace and security in Africa? Here a question comes to you. Give one where Peace and Security Council ensures peace in Africa. What are the answers? Bring out the ideas. So, if that question is asked, I expect you one, for example, to say, by negotiating peace, or we can say by organizing peace talks. Between those people, between those countries that are conflicting, it can organize peace talks, then the problem is solved diplomatically. Two, by sending peacekeeping forces to those areas affected by wars. For example, if there is a war in Somalia or in another country, AU, through the Peace and Security Council, sends army, sends troops to maintain peace in that country. For example, our own soldiers, UPDF, are working under AMISOM in Somalia. They are there under African Union. Therefore, by sending those troops there, AU is promoting peace and security. So candidates, Those are the laws of Peace and Security Council. Now, let us now talk about problems facing African Union. Those are challenges as it is trying to perform its duties of promoting peace in Africa, uniting Africans, promoting human rights in Africa. Which challenges does it encounter, does it face? Here they are. One, shortage of funds. This is self-explanatory. Lack of money, lack of resources. Two, civil wars in some African countries. Three, absence of a common language. This one makes communication difficult in Africa. You may find, for example, in Uganda, we have got many tribes speaking different languages. Go to Kenya, go to Tanzania, go to West Africa. You find different countries having different languages. Therefore, that one makes it difficult, especially during the meetings, where you have to have some interpreters and other things. Therefore, absence of a common language is a big challenge in Africa. Then poverty among Africans, illiteracy in Africa. What do we mean by illiteracy? The inability to read and write, which is also a biggest challenge facing African Union. Then, lastly, we have absence of a standing army. Standing army, I mean, as African Union, there is no army which is in the names of African Union for promoting peace and security in Africa. What does it do? If there is a problem, for example, in Somalia, AU requests different countries to provide soldiers, provide the army for maintaining peace and security, which is a very big problem. It would be having that army for promoting peace and security. Therefore, this is a big challenge facing Africa or African Union as a body. Therefore, that's all about today's lesson. But before we finish, or before I stop, I have activity for you, which you must answer very well. Give it your time, write well, using cursive handwriting. Don't print. We need cursive. So here are a few numbers. I want you to answer them very well. Now, number one says, which organ, of course, of African Union runs the day-to-day affairs of AU? Number two, how do you think AU promotes peace and security in Africa? Number three, who is the current chairperson of Roman numeral 1, AU Commission? Number two, the Assembly of the Union. Then number four, name the law-making body of African Union. Number five, which organ of AU is made up of the heads of state? Then lastly, how does lack of a common language affect the work of African Union? So those are a few numbers, write them very well. Then let us stop here. Stay safe, avoid those large crowds. Then we meet next time. Bye.